Welcome to Get Ripped Collectibles.
Gator Dave, how you doing, sir?
I am well, Mike. How about you?
I'm doing well. Can't complain after last week.
Oh man, what a weekend! I mean, we got back to respectability, which is a good thing. Couple of nice wins for us for sure. So, um, want to remind everybody to subscribe, hit that like button if you like the show, and interact in the chat. We got Public House already in here and ready to go. So like Mike said, it was a great week. His was better than mine. I was 7-5. I thought I was doing something, but Mike was 8-4, folks. I think that could be pretty close to the best. I had 9-2 and 1 week 2, but 8-4. Shoot, that was awesome. Great job.
Yeah, I just want to point out real quick, since you brought it up.
There's something missing.
There's no medal over there, Gator Dave. You done lost your medal, sir.
Man, yeah, it's all tied up, folks. All tied up going into championship week. So, yeah, that's what happens when
I had to bring the bucket hat this week based off of last week. I think that might be the key. So we're staying consistent here.
Could be. So you got them up there. You got the numbers up from last week, I see. So quite respectable. Could have won a lot of money that you bet with us last week for show. So so now we're going into championship week. We got 10 games we're going to talk about this week, and down to the nitty gritty in the end, and then it's bowling. And Mike wants to call out. Mike, call him out.
Oh yeah, real quick. Our guy, fellow founder, co-founder, co-partner, the guy that runs our Instagram, Mr. Scott Crawford. You see him in the chat. He's a great young fellow. Very happy to be working with this young man, this young studious gentleman. Anyway, he went to this school, Valdosta State, played football for him, won a championship with him. I told him that if Valdosta State won their second round playoff game, that I would give them a shout out on our show tonight and wear some Valdosta State gear. So just wanted to shout out our guy there in the chat. That's what happens when you hop in the chat. You never know. You know, we might wear some stuff that you'd like to see. Let us know.
Get a shout out, wear some garb. You never know. Join the chat. Make it happen.
Go Blazers.
Cheers. Go Valdosta. All right. So
all right, Dave. Only 10 games this week, not our usual 12. We only got 10. Championship week.
That's right. We don't have our dirty dozen. We're only down to 10. We're going to start with Conference USA. New Mexico State at Liberty. And Liberty is ranked 25th, Mike. They are playing at Liberty in Lynchburg, Virginia, so make note of that. And this game is Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So New Mexico State comes in the contest at 10-3 and 11-2 against the spread. Liberty is 12-0 and 8-4 against the spread. New Mexico State, you probably heard a little bit about them. They won 4 of their last 5. One of those 4 wins was was over there in Bammer. They beat Auburn 31-10, Mike. Ooh, yeah, that did happen. It was the big shocker of the year. One of those Power 5 teams getting beat by the group of 5 team. Liberty undefeated. Not a lot of signature wins. They haven't really played anybody this year. They haven't had to play one of the tough Power 5 teams. They have beat La Tech and Western Kentucky, but not a lot there. I can tell you the money is on New Mexico State. But I like this one being at Liberty's Field. When we look at the two teams, the thing that stands out in terms of offense and defense is Liberty's offense, ranked 6th in the nation. Granted, their schedule's not that tough, but now we're talking in conference, so you really kind of throw that schedule out the window and you just kind of look at where they are. Liberty's at 6th, New Mexico State at 58. So we probably can surmise that there are going to be some points scored by Liberty. They've got a good offense. They're averaging 45 points a game in the last 5 games, Mike. New Mexico, decent offense, 20 to 25. So I kind of put those numbers together, and I'm thinking this thing's around 60, somewhere between 60 and 70. And the over-under is 56. So, Mike, I'm taking the over in this game, and I'm going to call the first game a Gator Dave lock, Mike. What say you?
Gator Dave lock. I like that pick, actually. I was kind of teetering on this one between the over and ultimately where I decided to go, and that is New Mexico State and the points. Liberty is undefeated. I think the crazy part about Liberty is, so you think about James Madison and all the hype that they got throughout the year, right? And they weren't bowl eligible. Now they are, because they didn't have enough people or enough teams to fill those bowls. So now they are going to get to play in a bowl. But Liberty, like you said, is undefeated. I mean, there's been absolutely no talk about Liberty, no respect towards them. Not even in a conversation. What are they, like 25th, 24th, something like that?
Yeah.
So not even close to being in the conversation of a potential playoff or even the top 12 spots. If it were, next year where those top 12 teams are getting in at undefeated. I just think that's crazy when some of these teams are sitting at 3 losses. Anyway, I think the biggest thing with this one is Jamie Chadwell, the head coach for Liberty. With all these vacancies that are popping up in college football for head coaching jobs, I think that he has probably been a little bit distant from his team during this time, and I think his team is also recognizing that he may be moving on from Liberty after this year. Potentially, I think, to Mississippi State. No, I'm just kidding. They just hired somebody. No, but I do think he could be on the move, and I think that's going to play a factor here. Also, Jerry Kill, the head coach for New Mexico State, he eats ice creams in snowstorms, all right? This is a badass dude. I'll always ride with Mr. Jerry Kill. They're sitting at 10-3. Like you said, they beat Auburn, so it's not some pushover team. Give me the Aggies to go in and potentially upset Liberty's undefeated season. If not, we'll have to see if Liberty puts up a banner in their stadium like UCF did when they went undefeated for a national championship.
That's interesting, Mike. I think could be a good call. Gary Gill, check him out. He's been around a bit. He's been coaching for a minute out there, kind of gone up and down. Was in Power 5 for a while, and now, back in that group of 5. But dude can coach for sure. Check him out. He's the same age as Gator Dave. Go check him out. All right.
Gator Dave.
We got
quick.
Ian.
Yeah, real quick. I want to shout out in the chat real quick. So Squishy asked, what happened to the Irish car bombs? They lost, dude. The thing with the Irish car bombs, or if all 3 teams won, we were going to do them. I'm pretty sure it actually went the complete opposite way, and all 3 may have even lost during that week. It was rough. But yeah, needless to say, it didn't happen. So here we are sipping on our individual beverages, but they are not Irish car bombs. Not this evening.
They're not. Good call. And welcome Ian Gleason back to the plains of Kansas and all that snow. So, all right. Mike, you got the next one, buddy? Ooh, good one.
Next one is going to be, so we started off with that early Friday game. Well, earlier, I guess. It's still at 7 Eastern time. But the following game is the one that everybody's going to be concerned about. Probably the biggest game of the weekend, honestly. It's Oregon against Washington in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon is favored by 9.5 in this one. This is the second time these two teams have played this year. Washington won the first time 36-33. I do not think that it is going to be that high scoring this time in this one. I also think it's hard for a team to beat another team twice in one season. So I do lean Oregon here, but 9.5 is a lot of points. Oregon's defense, I think, is going to be able to have some success against Michael Penix this second time around. Not so sure that Washington offense is going to be able to find so much success against Oregon's defense, but Washington's got some absolute dogs at wide receiver that can pretty much match up with anybody right now. Very similar to, in my opinion, to when LSU and they made their run with Joe Burrow and they had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I mean, the guys that Washington has could easily end up being those guys on Sunday. But give me the under in this one, Gator Dave. I think that this one's going to be close. I do like Oregon, but I think this one could end up being like a 30-21 kind of game, 28-21, 28-20. So I think the safer bet here is the under. Who do you like?
All right, so let's dissect this one, Mike. So Oregon, probably the hottest team around right now, 11-1. They're 9-2-1 against the spread. We know Washington's 12-0. Scathed by in a few games, even scathed by with Washington State last week. They've had some close calls. They only won by 3 last week. Only won by 3 against Oregon State. Only won by 7 against Utah. Oregon comes in with the number 2 offense in the nation and the number 7 defense, Mike. I really want to see them in that Final Four. They've averaged 45 points per game, only giving up 16 points per game. Our boy Nix, he's the Heisman hopeful right now, looking like he's going to get it. Almost 4,000 yards, 37 TDs, looking the bomb. They've got a 1,000-yard rusher in Bucky Irvin, 1,043 yards, 10 TDs. Washington has issues on defense, and that's concerning. They've allowed 140 on the ground. They're giving up 250 yards per game in the air, and they haven't played Oregon yet, Mike. With all that said, I'm telling you, the Ducks are going to score 40 or more points in this game. I feel pretty confident in that. I was a little leery about what Washington was going to do, so that's what swayed my pick. So, Mike, I am going the Oregon team total over 38 points in this game, Mike. That's where I'm going.
All right, right on. Fair enough. Yeah, I think going back to what you said at the beginning about Bo Nix, I mean, if he wins this game, I think the Heisman's his, honestly. I think if he loses, it's Jaden Daniels. If he wins, it's his. And that's what it is right now.
Totally agree. All right, next game. We're rolling to Saturday. Okay? We're going to the Big Mac. And we've got
action.
Miami action, baby. Except it's on Saturday. Hey. So we got Miami of Ohio versus Toledo in Detroit, Michigan at noon. So Miami comes in 10-2, 9-3 against the spread. Toledo 11-1, 6-6 against the spread. They both look really good, obviously. Early in the year, Toledo won the game 21-17. So keep that in mind again, 21-17. That was on October 21st, okay? Toledo's only lost to Illinois, in game 1 of the year.
Is that Memphis math?
Yeah, kind of similar. It's Illinois. I've got friends that live up there, and they would hammer me if I said Illinois like I lived in Memphis.
We should have some Illinois people potentially watching here. Who knows?
Is that right?
Who knows?
All right, speak up, Illinois folks. Speak up. We look at the two teams. Miami 65th on offense, 8th on defense. Toledo 20th on offense, 26 on defense. So you kind of wash each other out. All the money right now is on Miami. So obviously it's going to be a close game. When I look at this thing earlier in the year, we saw 21-17, right? That's 38 points, right, Mike?
That's math. Yep.
Last year,
math.
that is, and we're gonna keep it rolling, baby. Last year, these two teams played for the MAC championship. The game was 17-7. That would be 24 points, Mike. So 38-24. It's the easy one for Gator Dave. I'm going the under 44 points in this one, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Miami of Ohio's defense is legit. I think they'll be able to slow down that Toledo offense enough to keep us under this number. So I'm with you. I like the under in this one.
All right. What do we got next there, buddy?
All right, next we're gonna go out west. Not that way. Not too far out west, but far enough. But first, Gator Dave, we're gonna talk. Cover your assets. You see it up here, folks. It's right above me and Dave. ShopCYA.com. Cover your assets. You need clear plastic bags. Whenever you go, there's a piece of paper in here to show that there's something in here and that it covers. But you need clear plastic bags for whenever you go to stadiums, sporting events, concerts, high school games. You got to have these clear plastic bags now. So this is what Shop CYA and Cover Your Assets is. It is a bag that goes over your clear plastic bag. So when you're going through security, you snap it off. Security checks your stuff out. Then when you get through security, you're able to snap it back on. Keeps your assets covered, keeps people from checking it out who are just walking by, whatever. You don't need everybody seeing what you got. Make sure to check it out. Tons of designs, tons of styles. They got leather ones for a little more bougie look. Check it out, shopcya.com. Check it out. Get with it before you get left, all right? You could be a trendsetter. This is not – you have that opportunity right now. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. All right, so we are going to the Midwest here a little bit. So it's Oklahoma State taking on Texas. Texas is a 15-point favorite in this one. Yeah. So it's not going to go too well for Oklahoma State, needless to say. However, they do have a guy named Ollie Gordon at running back who's going to be able to make this game competitive, at least in the beginning, I think. Their quarterback, Alan Bowman for OK State, they've been a completely different team since they've put him in at quarterback. I think he's going to be able to do enough game management-wise to keep them in this one. My only fear with him is that he turns the ball over quite frequently. And if he does that early in the game and Texas is able to establish that lead, it might not be pretty. Also because Texas is sitting at 7th in that playoff ranking, latest playoff ranking. So they really got a serious climb to make and some things to go their way in order for them to find themselves in that top 4. So they're going to be trying to run up the score here. So that is why ultimately I am on the over 54 in this one, Gator Dave. Who do you like here in old AT&T Stadium in Jerry's World?
Mike, I like that call. That would be my second call there, Mike. I'm with you. So Cowboys, they started out slow. Right, they're 9-3. They're 7-5 against spread. Texas only lost against Oklahoma. The one thing about Okie State, they lost to UCF a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of got to discount that. Bowman threw 3 interceptions in that game, so it's one of those one-offs. Yeah. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, and you kind of got to throw those out the window. Texas only lost to Oklahoma by 4 back in October. They hammered Texas Tech last week, 57-7. I think they're saying, look, we're pretty tough. bring it on. Let's see what you got type deal. Oklahoma State is 48th on offense, 74 on defense. Texas, very balanced and up there. That's why they're coming to the SEC, right? 21st on offense, 12th on defense. Pretty strong team when you look at Texas. The OSU 2-2 in the first couple of games. In that first four, they lost to South Alabama. Everybody thought they were out of it, but Ollie Gordon he's torn it up. He's been the best running back in the nation. 1,580 yards, 20 touchdowns, 33 receptions, 272. The guy's going to get his time, and he's going to get his yards. That's going to happen. So that's why I kind of think, Mike's got a pretty good call here when he talks about the over in this particular situation. But Bowman is interception prone, which worries me a little bit. And if those things happen early and they get behind, Texas is going to roll them up. They've got a good rushing defense. They're only giving up 85 yards a game. So I think they've got a chance to hold Gordon in check, and put that pressure on Bowman. Cowboys defense giving up 64 points in their last two games. Bowman is 10 TDs, 11 interceptions. And yours coming back is 2,700 yards, 70%, 17-5. Whereas obviously a lot of folks are rah-rah on the Okie State wagon. I think Texas is too tough right now, and they're going to cover those 15 points. So give me Texas and to cover the 15, Mike.
Yeah, I think Texas totally has the ability to get over 40 in this one pretty easily. And I also just realized I look like a Canadian police officer. What are they called?
Canadian Mountie.
Yep, that's the vibe. That's the vibe that I'm giving right now, I think.
Cool. I don't know if that.
So there you go. You go there, bud.
You're looking good there, buddy. But remember where you were last week.
Friend.
You were 8-4 there, my friend. All right.
That's right. We'll do what we can for the record.
Let's roll out to the Mountain West from Jerry's world. We're getting further west there, and we're going to Vegas. Yeah. We are going to Vegas. Hey, and by the way, we got a Hindu. Speaking of Vegas, that guy's he's a Vegas kind of the guy, Hindu is. Yep. So we're going to Vegas.
Maybe this year.
Maybe this year? Yeah.
Hey, we'll see.
Oh, baby, this year. Where are we with that, Hindu? Can you give us an update? Where are we with that? Put it in the chat. All right, let me start. Mountain West. This one I've flip-flopped multiple times. Boise State versus UNLV. Obviously playing in Vegas. A little bit of advantage there, right? So Boise State is 7-5, 6-5-1 against the spread. UNLV 9-3, 10-2 against the spread. Boise has won 4 of their last 5 games and only lost to Fresno by 7. And they beat Air Force on Saturday. But everybody's beaten Air Force the last 3 or 4 weeks. UNLV's lost 2 of 5. They lost against Fresno and San Jose State by 7 this past weekend. So Boise State fired their coach because of a toxic locker room, Mike. Toxicity in the locker room. So Boise State was in this game last year. They lost to Fresno 28-16. The Rebels come in. Great season under first-year head coach Barry Odom, a SEC reject from Missouri. They moved to a QB named Jaden Maiva. He made a huge difference. He threw for 26-28, Mike, damn near 3,000 yards, 64% completion rate, 14-6, and he rushed for 244. They've got 2 nice running backs, Vincent Davis, J. Dean Thomas. and Leicester as well, who have accounted for 1,700 yards, Mike, on the ground. UNLV scored 36 rushing touchdowns, leads the nation. All right. Let's look over on the other side at Boise. They got their interim coach, Spencer Danielson. They've scored 72 points in the last 2 games. They won 3 straight games, scoring 27 or more in each contest. Boise State runs the ball and passes the ball. Talon Green, quarterback, led that offense. He also runs the ball well. But I think UNLV's on a mission here, Mike. And our buddy, our SEC Missouri dude, Barry Odom, and his OC, Brennan Marion. Repeat, Brennan Marion and the go-go offense. That guy's about to be a coach somewhere. He's the offensive coordinator. They've torn it up. The go-go offense is going to kick some Boise butt. Give me UNLV plus 2.5, Mike. What say you?
Yeah, ultimately, I'm with you here. This was one that I was really torn on between the over and UNLV with the 2.5. I think Boise State's offense is going to be able to have some success. I mean, you look at their team, they average over 200 passing yards a game, over 200 rushing yards a game. UNLV, hold on, let me just correct that. UNLV, they also average over 200 yards passing. They average just under 200 yards rushing. So this is going to be 2 teams that are really going to be going back and forth at it a little bit in this one. It's at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. So I really expect there to be some points. I think you are correct here, Gator Dave. I think UNLV ultimately gets it done, gets the win. It's their home stadium. Boise's really not the same when they don't play on that blue turf. So I do like, with a 2-4 record this year, by the way, on the road. I do like the aspect of the head coach no longer being there and that toxicity removed from that locker room. I don't think it's going to be enough. I like UNLV here to get it done. I'm with you.
All right.
And just like that, Dave, we're halfway through. We're halfway through the show right now.
Have we done 5 games, Mike?
That's 5 games, man. We only got 5 left.
20 minutes. We're right on track there, bro. We're
only got 5 left.
I know you've got a.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
At 8:45, you know. So
we're doing this.
45 minutes.
It's beautiful. All right. Keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. So the next game we got here, we're going to the SEC championship game. We got, or no, I'm sorry. You got the SEC, I think. I'm going, what is it, App State Troy?
Our favorite league,
sorry.
Right?
False alarm, folks. You're going to have to wait a little longer. You have to wait a little longer for the big dogs. Yeah, we're going to the Sun Belt here. App State at Troy. Troy is a 6-point favorite. The way the Sun Belt works as well, it is a home game for Troy. They don't have a neutral site, so it's going to be a home game for Troy. Ultimately, I like App State in this one. I'm going to take App State in the points plus the 6.5. Troy is a great team. They got a good defense. They got a solid offense. But App State, man, their offense is cooking right now, and they have they've basically competed in every game they've played this year. They could easily be undefeated. They've only had single-score losses. Their quarterback is absolutely slinging it. Their run game is pushing the narrative, pushing the line. I'm going App State plus 6.5 here with the upset. I think everybody and their mama is going to be on Troy here. For obvious reasons, Troy is a great team. They've had a great year. But App State, man, I'm telling you, they've played some good football here in the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna go with the Mountaineers. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right, so let's take a real close look at this one, Mike. So again, App State snuck in at 8-4 into the championship game, while Troy is 10-2. Okay, App State won their last 5. obviously they beat the big dog, right? They beat James Madison by 3 points 2 weeks ago. Troy's only 2 losses, Kansas State, Big Boy League, and James Madison by only 2. So 2-3 wash. So let's call that JMU a wash. App State, 17th on offense, 64th on defense, Mike. Troy is 52 on offense, 10th on defense. Now, last year, Troy beat Coastal 45-26 in this game. I only like going back 1 year because I don't like your history of years. It's tough for me to even go back 1 year, but I can dig 1 year on the history lesson.
You just like history when it fits your narrative. We've been over this.
No, it's only you watch my narrative. It'll never go past 1 year. So now you talked about App State and you're
somebody clip that and find all the videos earlier this year of him referencing anything past a year. I guarantee there's multiple.
No way. No
guarantee
way. Find it. I challenge anybody. I'll buy them a beer if they can catch that. So
I guarantee it. I'm telling you. You do the work, you'll get yourself a beer. I'm telling you, it's there.
Yeah, do that. Do the work. Go back. Go through all the videos. They're all there. So Mike talked about App State QB Aguilar. Dude is killing it. 3,271 yards, 63%, 33-9, ran for 270. You know, they got 2 running backs, Noel and Roberts. It's 787 and 595. Great balance on that offensive side of the ball. But remember, they lost 3 games. Troy got a quarterback, Gunnar Watson. Mike, he's thrown for 3,141 yards. 61%, 26-5, Mike. 26-5. Kamani Vidal ran for 1,349 yards, 5.3 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Troy's defense is strong. They held JMU to less than 300 yards. Yeah, they lost, but they held them less than 300. Troy also held the number 2 and number 3 teams on their side of the Sun Belt to a combined total of 16 points. Mike, give me the experience of the game and the home field advantage, and I'm going to take Troy at -6. Boom.
I love it. Because, again, for the late joiners, you see these records, all right? It's all tied up. It's all tied up. And so far, we've only agreed on, I think, maybe 1. So a lot of potential movement here, folks. A lot of potential movement.
Could be, Mike. Could be. All right. You did that one. I do the next one, right?
Yep. You got it.
All right.
Take it away.
We got the AAC, my backup conference, my Memphis Tigers conference, right? So we have SMU versus number 23 Tulane playing in New Orleans at 4 p.m. on Saturday. So that's kind of a home game for Tulane. So just mark that off. SMU coming in the game 10-2, 7-5 against the spread. Tulane 11-1, 5-7 against the spread. SMU winners of their last 5. Their only losses this year, Mike. SMU's only losses: Oklahoma and TCU, Big Boy League. Tulane's only loss against Ole Miss. Okay, that was the second game of the year. They lost by 17. SMU, when we look at the teams, SMU's offense, fourth ranked offense, 13th defense. Tulane, 61 offense, 18 defense. Remember what I said? Those kind of match up when we're talking about a championship game. Tulane in this game last year, they beat UCF 45-28. We're only going back 1 year, Mike. Neither of these teams has lost a conference game this year. Their conference head-to-head is very close. When I look at those teams, they're very close to each other. The one being played at home, Tulane, gives them a nice edge since this was at home. No, so SMU quarterback Stone thrown for 3204, 60%, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They got 2 running backs around 600 yards each, and Stone's rushed for 200 yards. But the problem here, Mike, the big problem, hopefully you have looked at, is that Mr. Stone broke his leg in the last game. He broke his leg. So throw Stoney out the window. Let's talk about Tulane and Michael Pratt, 2168, 66%, 21-4. Hughes, the running back, at 1246, 5 yards to carry, and Pratt's run for 321. Last season, Tulane won the game 59-24. That was against SMU, only 1 year back. Tulane dominated on the ground. This year, SMU is only allowing 117 yards per game. But can SMU stop Pratt? No. He threw for 3 touchdowns last year, 1 year. My pick here solely on 2 factors, Mike, because everything's kind of tight. I would have leaned SMU, but SMU's quarterback broke his leg. Boom. And they're playing in New Orleans, too. Boom. Give me Tulane minus 3.5 points. Mike, what do you think?
I'm sticking with SMU. I'm going to ride it with the Mustangs. I think the fact that that line didn't move a whole lot based off of, him not being able to play or the line being where it was. I mean, if Preston Stone doesn't go, I think this line should be closer to like 8. It's not. It's at 3.5. So I think SMU is going to be able to find success. They got a backup. His name's Kevin Jennings. He's come in this year. Yep. He's throwing 75% completion. He's got 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Rhett Lashley has a plug-and-chug system kind of offense. You go in there, you're going to sling it. He's going to put guys in a position to succeed. I'm riding with the Miami Hurricanes of the Midwest. Give me SMU plus 3.5 in this one to get.
Hey, they'll be playing your Miami Hurricanes next year, there, bro. They're moving over to the ACC.
They actually won't be. We don't play them for a couple years, which is kind of disappointing. I was really hoping that we would.
I've
we
heard,
actually don't play them for a couple years.
We're gonna take. What did you do? So we're gonna take a little time out here in the middle of this thing. So I need to talk about something. So while you bring that up, you said
TED
that
Talk.
You guys aren't gonna.
They're not gonna play
SMU. What?
Nothing. Continue. Just checking.
You guys aren't going to play SMU. One thing I found out about the big boy teams that are coming over from the Pac-12 into the Big Ten, right? You've got Washington, you've got Oregon, you've got USC, and you got UCLA. You know that they are not going to integrate them into their schedule holistically for like 2 or 3 years down the road. So in other words, Ohio State and Michigan, they might have to play one of the 4 teams over the next year or two, and then maybe they have 2 after that. Can you believe that?
No. Have you seen Michigan's schedule for next year?
Yeah, what do you got? This is just crap I was told by some Ohio State fan that said, we're only going to have to play like one of those guys.
They're delusional. All right.
Yeah,
so
man,
Michigan opens with Fresno State, right? Then they play Texas. Then they got Arkansas State. Then they play USC, Minnesota, at Washington, at Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon at home, at Indiana, Northwestern, at Ohio State.
You're shitting me.
Nah,
Wow.
dude. Michigan is going to have probably 3 or 4 losses next year.
That's as hard as our schedule next year.
Oh, no, your schedule takes the cake. Florida is definitely the hardest schedule next year.
It's going to be tough, but
it's ridiculous.
What about Ohio State?
Billy Napier is going to be like a rotisserie chicken. He's just going to be cooking. Cooking.
We're going to win 4 games next year, Mike. So, Ohio State.
Wow. Reaching for the stars in Gainesville, eh?
2020. Come on, man. 2024. So let's see what Ohio State's got. They got Southern Miss, Western Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State, Iowa, Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan. What a
wow. So they definitely they dodged some serious heat. Michigan got all of it. Michigan, I'm telling you, Michigan's got a tough schedule next year.
I mean, 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That freaking clown. I cannot stand the coach. I cannot stand this coach. All right, Mike. Sorry to get off on that. I was misinformed, but obviously the Ohio State fan that informed me about their puss schedule was right, because all they do is play one of the new teams in Oregon. The rest is puss central. So, yeah. All right. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
You're good.
Let's hit Big Boy League.
3 games left here for championship week for our show. We are going to the SEC. The time has come. We're going to talk Georgia, Alabama. Georgia is a -5.5 point favorite. Game is in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I went back and forth with this one, Dave. I started off on Alabama in the points. I moved over to Georgia because I've sort of gone against Georgia all season long, and every time I do, I feel like they just gut punch me every time. So I was on Georgia, and then I dug a little more into your favorite, the history of this matchup. And this is historically something that Alabama owns Georgia in. For example, I'm just going to give you a quick stat here. Georgia won last year, right? Before that, Alabama had won 7 in a row, dating back to 2007. I think Nick Saban getting points as an underdog is always a gift, a blessing in disguise. You can never count this team out. They counted them out earlier in the year. I threw it out there. You know, they were a plus 3,000 at one point to win the championship, and here they are. Albeit they have an uphill climb. They're sitting at 8. So, I mean, they really got to, they'd have to beat Georgia. A couple of things would probably have to still go their way for them to get in. But give me Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide and the plus 5.5 here, Dave, I don't know if they're going to get it done ultimately, but I think they're going to be able to cover this one. It's definitely going to be, it'll be right up there with Oregon-Washington as, the best game of the week for sure.
Absolutely. So I'm loving it, man, because I'm feeling this one. This one's a family deal, obviously, with Ian.
Yeah, as you touch the gator, obvious.
Graduating from Georgia, and Nirvana being a Georgia fan now, and our house being divided. So I'm liking this. All right, let's look what do we got here? So Georgia undefeated, but they're only 4-8 against the spread. And Mike, the reason
those 4 wins are against me, I can guarantee it.
No. The reason you lost is that in the beginning of the year, Georgia was having trouble in the first half, right? And then you start.
I banked on it. I banked on it, and every time they showed me that was just a. Yeah, you're right.
That's why they took you to cleaners, and that's why Gator Day won a couple of those games. But that's all right. So they are only 4-8 against the spread. Bama's 11-1, 8-4 against the spread. Totally the opposite, right? Georgia just played Tech. They played a lot of young kids. I know a lot of people are thinking, well, that game was only like 7 or 8 points, but Georgia played 0 starting receivers and our tight end. They didn't even play. The
Which is
Tide
crazy.
Scathed by Auburn. It took the infamous Milroe miracle for them to beat Auburn in that game, right?
That was nuts.
It was crazy.
We'll probably never see something like that again, honestly.
Probably not. Only next year. Georgia 8th on offense, 6th on defense. Bama 17 offense, 14 defense. So Georgia got the edge. Last year, Georgia in this game, Mike, won 50-30 over LSU. Okay, Bama wasn't even there. So if we look at the Melrose Miracle 27-24, amazing game. Milroe passed for 259, 2 TDs, ran for 107. He is all the offense. Bama gave up 244 yards on the ground to Auburn. Keep that in mind. Auburn turned the ball over 3 times. So Auburn turned the ball over 3 times, and Bama only won by 7. So maybe one less of those turnovers, and we'd be looking at right. A lot of luck there winning the Tide win, in my opinion. The Dogs, they didn't tear it up against Georgia Tech, but like I said, they weren't playing anybody in that game. They did turn the ball over twice in the game, interception by Beck and a fumble. Tech had 205 yards on the ground against Georgia, which is something to consider. But give me them family dogs and the 5.5 points in this game, Mike.
Yeah, I also like the. With the number sitting at 54, that under is pretty tempting.
I'm telling you, dude. That was second. That was second for me. Was the under in that game for sure.
Yeah, pretty
but
tempting.
I don't know, man. There's so much coin flipping. So, all right, let's go. I get to start off with a game that I've flipped 3 times on. I've gone.
Well, if you want to do the final one, I'll do this one because I did not flip at all.
I'd rather talk about this one because I've flipped 3 damn times, Mike. I mean, it's just crazy, and obviously it's Louisville, it's ACC, it's in Charlotte, 8 p.m. And I know this is your league, but unfortunately, my God, it's just killed me the whole day, the whole week. I started with the over, I went to the under, and now I went somewhere else. But it's just absolutely crazy. So the Cards come in at 10-2, 7-4-1 against the spread. FSU, 12-0, 7-5 against the spread. The Cards lost to our SEC Kentucky team on Saturday. And they lost to Pitt after having 6 turnovers. So you can understand that. You have 6 turnovers, you're going to lose just about anybody. FSU undefeated. Whooped my Gators by 9 on Saturday. Louisville is 31
is a strong
on
offense. That was a close game.
It was, but it's just depressing. So Louisville 31 on offense, 24 on defense. FSU 10 on offense, 11 on defense. The Louisville storyline, okay, they lost to Kentucky last week by 7 in a rivalry game. Plummer, he had a decent game actually. 73%, 242, 2 TDs, He did have an interception. They rushed for 161. If you look at the total yards, the Cards outgained Kentucky 403 to 289. But the issue was the turnovers, right? You had the interception, you had 2 fumbles. Plummer, 21 TDs, 11 interceptions. It's that 0-2-1 shit that you worry about, right? And can he control the game, right? But they've also had 17 fumbles, but only 5 lost, which that's not too shabby. Pretty good number. FSU comes in, obviously undefeated. The story here, obviously, is Jordan Travis, right? Jordan Travis is not playing. They're playing their backup, Tate Rodemaker. Last week against my Gators, he was 48% passing, 134 yards against the number 85 defense in the country, okay? 85 defense. Let's go back up and look at the Cardinals' defense. Blah, 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 blah. Where I know I had that. I thought it. Oh, Cardinal defense 24th. Gator defense 85. All right. So, he didn't have that great a game. The Noles did rush 90 yards in the game. Defense, our defense helped them. 232 yards on offense, 8 yards better than the Noles. We were playing in the swamp. Obviously, that has a big factor in this situation, and this game's going to be on that neutral field. Louisville's averaged 31 points in their last 5 games, but only giving up 18. Noles averaged 34 points on offense, giving up 14. This one, I'm telling you, this game, I flipped the coin. As much as I hate it, Ian, are you still there? I'll take the Noles and the money line. Go ahead, Mike. Yeah, it sucks.
So the only thing that I was teetering back and forth was if I liked the under or Louisville more in this one. I think Louisville's defense is going to bring it after Rodemaker. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on him. They're going to cause him to get rid of that ball quickly. They have a good rush defense too. If they can hold Trey Benson, that was where Florida had success last week against Florida State early. They were able to contain Benson, was forcing Rodemaker to try to make some throws. Wide receivers really weren't coming up for him the way they needed to, and that's why y'all were able to stay in that game as long as you were. But Louisville is a much more complete team than Florida is this year. I think that they're going to give Florida State problems. Jeff Brom has that team rolling right now. Offense is clicking. Defense is clicking. Beginning of the year, we talked about them a couple times. We even took them a couple times, and they kind of jaded us a little bit because, they didn't quite perform up to their expectations that we had and others had for them going into this year. But now they are playing like that team that everybody thought they were going to be with the talent that they have on that roster. I think they're going to be able to get it done here. Like you said, if Jordan Travis was going to go for Florida State, I think it's Florida State all day long, and you're looking at Florida State in the college football playoff, and they're really just playing for, the 3 or the 4 seed at that point. Without him, man, it's tough. Even if they do end up winning this game, you got to look at those other teams in those playoffs. I mean, they're going to get steamrolled. Do they deserve to be in if they go undefeated? Absolutely. Should they be put in if they go undefeated with no Jordan Travis? I don't think so. I'd much rather see the 4 teams that are going to be the most competitive. I just don't think Florida State would be that against those best teams in the country. Having said all that, I'm going Louisville here, plus the 2.5 in this one.
All right. Well, like I said, I had the coin out on that one, buddy. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to come down to quarterback play. Can he game manage, and can the run game get going to help him out? And that's why I sort of lean more towards the under. I think that both defenses are really going to kind of be able to find success because Florida State's defense, they know that they got to put it on their back. They're not going to get a lot of points offensively, so they know they're going to have to
And
come out and show out.
and that's where I was right before it dropped. I mean, the I think the under is a good play. I mean, 47 is
Yeah.
it's right there. I mean, it was like 50 or 51 2 days ago, and I was like, I mean, I was all up. I go, this is the under,
Yeah.
easily the under. And now
Right.
I'm like, now I switch from the under to Florida State just off flip of the coin. So
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
under could
I'm
happen.
thinking
Really.
I'm thinking it's like a 23-21 type of game. Like that kind of low scoring, you know, a lot of punts, a lot of sloppiness,
Yeah. Yep.
a lot of
Yep.
defense. So,
Yep. I
all
mean,
right, sir.
all right. Let's hit the last game, Mike. It's yours, bud.
Yeah, I'm not going to take long on it. It's Michigan against Iowa. Michigan is a 21.5-point favorite here. Iowa, I don't know if you saw this. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but they are favored in the first half. And I'm sorry, not favored, but their team total is just a score one time. It's a half a point. That's the over-under line for the first half. That's also the over-under line for the second half. It's just half a point. So the Vegas books really do not think Iowa's offense is going to have any success against this Michigan defense. I was really going back and forth with sticking with that trend in the Iowa games and just rocking that under. I think it's at 35.5 now. I'm going to go with my gut and say Michigan minus the 21.5. I just don't think Iowa's going to be able to score. I think Michigan's going to be able to score enough. The only fear that I have with this one is, if Iowa's able to score something on special teams or get a defensive touchdown, then this one may be a little closer than that. You got to think Harbaugh wants to come out and obviously make a statement, sitting at that 2 seed. They'd like to get over Georgia and get that 1 seed to play the 4. But at the same time, they don't want to risk any injuries knowing that they're basically in it. All they got to do is win this game and get out of there, and they're, playing for a playoff and playing for a championship. So it's kind of that fine line between the two. That's why ultimately, again, if you were going to look at this, I'd look at the under, if anything. If you're going to look at the spread or the total for this game, I think it's, like I said, still like 35.5. But I think Michigan is able to get this one done. I think even at 27-6, I'm probably going to buy down. Unfortunately, we're going to have 21.5 for the show, but I'll probably buy down that half point, take it at 21 at least. Give yourself a little insurance there, because that's a lot of points in a championship game, whether it's Michigan and Iowa or somebody else. So I am going to stick with Michigan minus 21.5, but I would also probably lean the under here. Dave, who do you got?
So I'm kind of with you there, Mike. I mean, it's really, how does Harbaugh want to play this game is where those numbers go. I mean, obviously Michigan's going to win the game.
Well, if they're up, say they're up, 20-0 at halftime, does he pull the starters and put the backups in for the second half and just kind of let it go, or what is, who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
Harbaugh definitely beats to his own drum.
Yeah, and if it was somebody else, I'd probably be able to speculate a little bit better, but that guy's a wackadoo. So it's like, I could probably speculate a lot better if it was somebody else, but you never know about that guy. Like, if it was Kirby Smart. If it's Kirby Smart, I go, shit, play this 21.5, and they're going to blow their freaking doors off.
He's going to put their foot on their neck,
Yeah, just slam their ass. But you never know about Harbaugh, because – and you look at the games this year, Mike, and it's like, they get 31 points, they're satisfied, So it's like,
if they get 31 points, they're going crazy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and so it's, you just don't know. So here's what I got. Obviously, Michigan undefeated. They're only 6-5-1 against the spread, which is the scary part for this whole thing, right? When we try to pick this damn thing. Michigan won big against Ohio State on Saturday. Iowa's plodded along, their losses to Penn State. They couldn't even score against Penn State. Thus, that's why everybody's saying no score against Michigan. Basically, they lost to Minnesota. Michigan 13th ranked offense and number one defense in the nation. So, thus the other gamut of why no one thinks Iowa can score. Because when you're the 121st offense in the country against the number one defense, I think that's like a zero, Mike. I think I call that a zero. So
Yeah,
so
it's a good
really
look.
you just got to figure out how much can Michigan score and how much do they want to score, right? Last year Michigan beat Purdue 43-22. So this played a little bit in my thought process when I'm trying to get into freaking Jim's wackadoo head. They scored 43 points, so they put the pedal to the metal. So that's kind of where I'm going when I look at this thing. Last week Michigan took down number 3. They won by 6. Michigan's averaged 35 in their last 5 games. Okay. And I think as we look at last year's game, like I said, where they went for 43, maybe Jim wants a little bit of style points and he means business. That's why I'm gonna go Michigan here and minus 21.5 points, Mike, because I think he's going to want some style points. Granted, he's not going to score 50 or 60, but if dude scores 30, 35 and it's 0, we're in the money, right? So that's kind of where I am on this one, Mike.
Yeah, you got to also think, with him missing the last 3 games from that suspension, he's chomping at the bit a little bit. He wants to get back. Yeah, so he'll be going for this one. All right, cool. There's our 10 championship games. I'm going to throw one more at you here, Gator Dave, because our next show for the bowl games is going to be in 2 weeks from now. So we got one game next week that in between there that we're going to give you a pick for real quick. It's Army against Navy. It's in Foxborough. It's in the Patriots Stadium this year. Army is a 2-point favorite. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going Black Knights here. Both of these teams, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they cannot make a bowl game. Army is 5-6, but if I remember right, there's like a deadline that teams have to be signed up for the bowl game, and they're playing this game a week from this Saturday. So I'm pretty sure they go past that deadline. So I do not think that they're able to make a bowl game this year, regardless of how this plays out. But I'm going to go Army and Jeff Monken money line here. Again, they are a 2-point favorite. I think Army is a better team. Navy has really, really struggled this year. Defenses look terrible. Offenses look terrible. These games, though, between Army and Navy, any of the military academy games, you can kind of throw out the records. They're going to play each other hard. You look at, what Army did to Air Force earlier this year. Air Force was, clicking undefeated through the season. Army put it to them. And like I said, Army's only got 5 wins on the year. So I'm going to go with the Black Knights. I love them. Army to get it done in the Army-Navy game. Who do you got here, Dave? In a little surprise action here in a bonus game.
Yeah, you know what I always like to do when you pull that bullshit. So,
hey, that's like the first time this year that I've thrown a surprise game here at you.
That's because we've been so focused on our Big 12 as we look through everything. So,
indubitably,
so we got games on Saturday, December 9th. At Gillette Stadium, right? So we're at the Patriots field, right? And we really talked more about Army and what they've done, because Navy has kind of been, they're in the AAC, and as I was looking, Mike, at the the AAC standings. They're like
Mm-hmm.
middle of the pack, dude, in that league. So what are we playing here in terms of the line? What's the line, Mike?
It's Army -2.
It is Army -2, and you are playing Army in the money line, Mike.
Black Knights, baby. Black Knights.
All right. So team, congregation, give me the midshipmen. 2 points.
I like it. I
will
wish
take the
you know what? I almost thought about adding this game to the official, because we only had 10 instead of our usual 12. So I almost thought about adding this one. I didn't. I'm kind of upset that I didn't at this point, because we'll see how that one plays out. But
midshipmen +2, baby.
that game could have been big. That head-to-head could have been big. All right, real quick. Everybody who's watching, liking, subscribing, please continue to do so. Drop a comment below. Throw something in the chat. Everybody that's been in the chat tonight, Ian, Evelyn, Charles, Scott, Public House, Squishy, we really appreciate y'all. We see every comment, so keep them coming. It really means a lot to us. Let me go ahead and throw up this week's recap for you. Actually, real quick, let's just one more time talk about shopcya.com. Up here above us, that is our sponsor. Great people over there. We'll have something special for the bowl game show, so make sure you don't want to miss that when we're talking about old Shop CYA. We're going to have a special prop to go along with our advertisement. A little Super Bowl Sunday-esque prop there for the college football show. But anyway, you need clear plastic bags when you go into stadiums, concerts, high school games, whatever nowadays. It's real simple. Instead of having your stuff exposed when you're walking around stadiums and whatnot, this is a cover your assets exclusive. This is the only place you can buy these, people. Only place. There is no other. You snap it off when you go through security. They check out your stuff, make sure you're good to go. Once you get through security, you snap it back on. Keeps your stuff secure, keeps your stuff away from wandering eyes. Make sure you check it out. They got a ton of designs. ShopCYA.com. Tons of team colors, tons of designs in general for all sorts of events. Like I said, it doesn't have to be just a football game or a sporting event. They have stuff for concerts and things that are a little fancier. So definitely check them out. Let them know that we sent you. Would mucho appreciate it. ShopCYA.com. And with that note, I'm going to throw up the recap here, Dave, for this week.
Yeah, let's see that up there, Mike. I mean, how many chances?
There's a lot of movement. Only 3 that we agree on out of the 10. So there's somebody is coming away. Somebody's coming away ahead in this.
Somebody's coming away looking real good when we look at this.
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm on New Mexico State.
We only agree on three.
I know.
10.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm on the Aggies in New Mexico State. And the points, you're on the over there against Liberty. I'm on the under in Oregon-Washington in that rematch. You were on the team total over 38 for Oregon. We're both on the under there for the Miami-Ohio Toledo game. That's one of the ones that we're in agreement on. You like Texas -15. I like the over in that Texas-Oklahoma State game. We're both on UNLV to get it done in the Mountain West. I'm on App State. You're on Troy. I'm on SMU, you're on Tulane. I'm on Alabama, you are on Georgia. I'm on Louisville, and you are on Florida State. And then to round it all off and finish off this 2023 season, as far as the regular season to the championship games, we're both on Michigan -21.5. So that is our games.
There are 4 real head-to-heads.
4 real head-to-heads. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be movement. There's got to be.
But you know what usually happens after I'm looking up 13 weeks. You know what usually happens on those head-to-heads? We split.
Hey, that's all right. That's
But
all right.
this
Because
week
if that was the case with this
baby.
one, it's all good. There's going to be
the
movement. I'm
hammer,
telling you,
baby.
there's going to be either a medal right here, or there's going to be a medal
Right
over there.
here.
That way.
Right here. Yeah.
But
yeah.
somebody's going to get the medal.
There's no way we'll be even after this. You're right about that.
Yeah.
And
Going into the bowl show, which by the way is going to be 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today is the bowl show. Next week we are off because there's only the Army-Navy game. Obviously, we just discussed it. So next week we will not have the show, but the following week we will have the bowl game show, which should, it'll be hard to get it down to 12. We'll see what these spreads and stuff are looking like. Maybe we'll do a little more. Maybe we'll do less. We'll see.
December 13th.
December 13th.
Maybe we have to do 2 shows. I don't know. December 13th is our next time together, team. That is when we want you looking at us again, and we do appreciate everybody being online tonight. And please please subscribe.
Cheers, Dave. Cheers.
Valdosta State and their win. So we appreciate everybody being on. And we got the U there. Gators are done for the year. There will be no bowl game. So we fired a couple of coaches. Pretty excited about that.
Miami will be in a bowl game this year for the record.
We'll see you guys down at Liberty Bowl in Memphis, baby. All right. So
hey, if it's in Memphis, I'm going.
Hey.
You coming with me, Memphis Math?
I might do that.
All right. We'll
have
to discuss.
We shall discuss.
Well, it's too bad y'all didn't make one. We might have been able to play y'all in the Outback Bowl or something. A little preview to the first game of next year. You're the first game in the swamp,
baby. Yep.
Next game in the swamp is against yours truly.
Oh snap! Yep. Hey, and it's crazy what's going on right now with the portal and all the quarterbacks that are
It's gonna be an insane next 3 months.
God,
absolutely nuts.
You got ready your freaking interception machine. You ought to feel good about that. You guys are gonna pull a good quarterback. I promise you that. So
yeah, we'll see.
It's gonna be fun. More to come. Go Valdosta State. Go Gators, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you. Boom.
Appreciate everybody watching.